Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Feeling that you have to be guilty if you protect your individual freedoms in the name of some fake notion of collective responsibility.
I'm Tamara Ugolini with Rebel News. I'm here in Peterborough, Ontario at the Peterborough Square, where some individuals are being denied access to an underground farmers market. Now, Annie reached out to me earlier in the week, and Annie, maybe you can just tell us from the top what the founding principles of this market, who actually broke free from the original Peterborough market. Can you tell me a little bit about what you found there?
This particular market gathered together under the purview of we support local, we are a community, we are local businesses, we are here to have a festive atmosphere, and there's a lot. They have an entire description page long of their mission statement and objectives, which I went into on the Peterborough Square Market, Farmers Regional Market. And so what brings us here to this moment in time is that a couple of weeks ago, I have an exemption, and I am not required to give, legally to give any details as to that exemption to anyone. Mm-hmm. However, we were here a couple of weeks ago. There was a vendor in the market that I actually purchased because I support local, I believe in local, and I think it's important to support our local farmers especially. I purchased what's called a community shared agriculture. And so I went to pick up my weekly box from the farmer, and the farmer told me, and I've been at this market every week without a mask, without problem. They all of a sudden told me that he's uncomfortable that I'm not wearing a mask. I had 2 friends with me. He wouldn't serve either of my friends and turned us away. So that was disturbing. I ended up asking for a refund from him because it's unfortunate. They don't seem to realize that this is destroying their businesses. And so then last weekend we came in on Saturday morning, and there was a guard at the door. And he said, "You're not allowed to come in without a mask." And I told him we have exemptions, and he said, "Well, then I will shop for you." And I'm thinking, you can't shop for me at a farmer's market. I don't even know what I want until I go through the market. I'm going to see what how many people have been to a farmer's market? You can tell someone, go pick up this. Nobody.
Well, and it goes back to that community founding statement. How do you facilitate that interaction and build that community if you have a designated shopper going in for you? And I suppose then at that point you're segregated to remain outdoors or in your vehicle. Did they explain how that works?
No, actually so what was interesting was there was a vendor we like to support as well just outside the doors. She's a cheese vendor. And she also makes wonderful grilled cheese sandwiches. So we wanted to purchase a grilled cheese sandwich. So my friend went up to her to purchase it, and Paul came marching over and said, "You can't do that without a mask." And this is nothing compared to what's going to come in the winter as we start to see this. They're planning another lockdown.
Tell me a little bit, sir, about the country that you came from and some of the similarities you're seeing here in Canada now.
I came from Romania, and I've seen the way the communism operates, and it's similar, it's identical to what's going on right now. But I think in this one, it's a lot more dangerous. It gets to the point where we have only one option to fight. Read and make yourself aware of what's going on, because if not, you're going to leave to your kids a society with chains.
The government doesn't decide if I should fear or not. That's my decision. Just like it's your decision. If you don't want to ride the horse, you don't ride the horse. If I want to ride the horse, I'm going to ride the damn horse. If I want to throw a party, I'm going to throw a party. It's not up to the government to decide who lives in fear and who doesn't.
The public health guideline states that exemptions exist and that no one should be denied service, and they don't have to, prove that they have an exemption. But that didn't seem to be the case here today. Do you find that there may be some discrepancies that aren't being upheld on one end and maybe not the other?
I guess I feel, this is a pretty hard situation the world is thrust into. And so, I don't know. Personally, I just wish people would wear a mask or find another way to get a product. We offer deliveries and we'd be happy to deliver outside of here. But if people are going to come in where there's a whole bunch of other people, a lot of people that are vulnerable. So I kind of feel like the anti-maskers are riding a little bit on the coattails of people that are. And Peterborough's numbers are low because people are careful here. So is it possible that people are riding on the coattails? It seemed to me that people not wearing masks were actually flouting it in the market. So I don't mind that we are pushing back a little bit. I don't mind.
I went to the hospital 3 weeks ago, and you're not allowed to walk into the hospital without a mask. Same idea. I find that it's very unfortunate, and I wish things were not this way. I understand some people is exempt, and it's really difficult to find who is actually exempt and who just refuses to use it. That's part of your liberties. I myself personally, not the market personally, I understand that. But at the same time, it's so many people coming at once that you need to be careful with all of them, right? So I have a couple of customers that they don't wear a mask and they were really disappointed for the situation. And I wish there was an easy answer, but there is not.
People not wearing masks at the market, exempt or otherwise, does make people uncomfortable because, especially like you say, because there isn't a need for proof of exemption. You don't know what's going on. You think, okay, is this person just not wearing a mask? Are they truly exempt? So that's difficult. Again, the vast majority of people feel uncomfortable with it. So are you going to make the vast majority of people feel uncomfortable, or a smaller minority of people feel uncomfortable with the mask wearing thing? There's nothing ethical about that. It's just a numbers game. So to be honest, I understand that it could restrict that person's ability to come into the market, but I think it's the lesser of two evils.
And do you agree with the policy that those that are exempt should not be allowed access to the market at this time?
All I'll say is that there are rules that are in place everywhere in Canada right now. We're just following rules.
We just got tossed out of the mall. We had to come up through the mall with, unfortunately, we've got some signs with us, so we kind of gave it away. We have some signs that we're not here just, to shop. We're here to also let them know how we feel. And we're peaceful. No one's yelling at anyone. No one's screaming. No one's violent. We're just nice people. Every one of us, we just care about our city and what they're doing to our city. So we came up through the mall, and right away, the property manager comes following up, marching up to me and says, we have to leave, it's private property, that we're trespassing.
What's the main similarity you see that is happening to Canada right now versus where you came from in Romania?
It's that this kind of push for collectivism and feeling that you have to be guilty if you protect your individual freedoms in the name of some fake notion of collective responsibility.
Do you feel like the mask mandate has an effect on the community feel that happens within the market building?
There are issues. You hear it all the time, whether it's in the market or on the street. It's divided, no doubt.
This farmers market particularly has been one of the main points that we are always trying to be inclusive and invite all people to be part of the community that we are on. But these are uncertain times. And I didn't realize that the police was called, and I think it's very unfortunate. But at the same time, everybody has different opinions. The health department says one thing, the government says another thing, and at the end, I think the only thing we are trying to do is to keep everybody safe.
Having that community interaction and the experience of a market, do you think that's being affected here?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But there's a lot of hardships. People are kind of living upside down for the last 8 months, and so that's just one more thing for us to add to the list.
It's an interesting point, because if those people who choose not to be vaccinated, should they be declined access to public spaces at that point?
Not at all, because they have their human rights like everybody else.
So where do you differentiate between a mask and a vaccine?
The thing is, again, it's a personal opinion. When the vaccine comes, when the spread is controlled, then it will be on everyone else if they want to get vaccinated or not. But when the proper government institutions think that it's safe for being without a mask, that will be the time.
There's been a lot of chat here today that this mandate may end when the vaccine becomes available. And at that point, if there are still people who choose not to get the vaccine, should they also be refused entry and service into these public spaces?
I mean, again, most of the reason why you wear a mask isn't for yourself, it's for other people. It's the sort of narrative they've been saying the whole time. And so if a person decides to deliberately not get the vaccine, they want to come to the market, and the majority of other people have the vaccine or however it might play out, that's up to them. But I think they're doing a great job. Makes me feel a lot more comfortable to come to market. I'm sure many other vendors feel similarly, even if it just represents a symbol of awareness of germ theory.
They called the police here as well, so we had one officer who was just very nice. I had a conversation with him, and he was just saying, well, it's private property, they have the right to tell us to leave. And so the property manager, Cheryl, I don't remember her last name, and then the security guard, I guess, was with them as well. And we're just trying to be reasonable and rational. And I said to them, please show me where it exists in writing that it's trespassing if you're not wearing a mask, because I don't know that is correlated. And if we're trespassing because it's private property, then every single individual in the mall is trespassing. And are they asking everyone else to leave? I believe that's called discrimination. We used to gather here every weekend, every Saturday morning to have coffee, Danish, do our shopping, and just sit and talk with everyone, and they have completely destroyed. This is not fun anymore. It's not fun to go shopping. It's not fun to go into restaurants anymore. And restaurants are also going to get destroyed. They're talking about all these businesses basically going out of business. So how can business owners sit by idly and not stand up for your right to have a business, to have a livelihood? Please.
To have community.
And to have community. Yes, exactly.
What would you say to the Canadian politicians if you had a platform to get the message to them?
I only have one message. You either fight for us, for the people, or you're gonna have to face the punishment, because we are not gonna accept it. The government here it's using a proven way the communists used. I'm sorry to call them the useful idiots and the sheeple. And that's what they are counting on.
Did you ever think that you would be facing this type of landscape here in Canada?
Never. I came here for freedom, and I really love this land and the people.
Sometimes when we're bringing you on the scene reporting, it means that we need to hire security guards or even lawyers. If you'd like to ensure that we can get accurate legal information and advice and have security on hand when needed, please consider pitching in what you can at journalistdefensefund.com. That's journalistdefensefund.com. We appreciate all of your help and support.